Alright, how's it going, everybody? It's C-RadTV back with another video. So, of course, it is now time for the other two NASCAR Chase Grid predictions. We already did the Trucks one, so now it's time for the Cup and Xfinity one. Of course, another NASCAR season now heading to the postseason, aka the Chase. So on Xfinity, we have 12 drivers battling for the title, and in the Cup, we have 16 battling for that Cup. Hell, this is a new era of the Chase. Because Jimmy Johnson didn't even make the Chase this year. The biggest shock. I mean, it was bound to happen eventually, but damn. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting Chase this year. But yeah, anyway, let's go ahead. Let's jump into the two Chase grids and see what happens. So here is the 2019 Xfinity Chase grid. I know the Xfinity Chase starts after Vegas, but if you look at the points, there's no way this Chase is changing anytime soon. Considering Ryan Sieg has a 120-some point lead over Greg Golding. So yeah, that gap is not changing anytime soon. So let's go through the 12 Xfinity drivers. So Xfinity, we got Tyler Reddick, who looks like he's going to win the regular season title. So Reddick, he's had a really solid season. He's taken advantage of other drivers' misfortunes whenever they blow it. And Reddick's taken really good advantage of it. Got a couple wins this year. A really good driver. Like Reddick easily, he is one of the favorites to win the title this year to potentially go back-to-back. We'll have to see how Reddick does. Christopher Bell, he's had a really solid season. 6 wins. He's won on every type of track, including Road America. One of the fastest cars in the field, without a shadow of a doubt. You know, it's about if Bell cannot have any mistakes. Like, I think Bell has enough chase points to point his way to the Final Four, but he's got to avoid having massive mistakes. But yeah, Bell should be the champion, and there's questions about if he's going to get a Cup ride. Is he going back to Xfinity for another year? Like, there's that uncertainty about his future in the year, so possibly a distraction for Bell. Cole Custer, been one of the best cars all year, too, on pace with Christopher Bell. Of course, 6 wins this year. He's won on all types of different tracks. Most of his wins have come on mile and a halves. So he's been the mile and a half king, one of the best on mile and a halves this year. Like, Custer's a favorite, too. Like, the top 3 are all favorites to win the championship. It's just about can they all execute it. Justin Allgaier, he should have a couple wins this year. But he's found almost every conceivable way to shoot himself in the foot. And that's why Allgaier is still stuck at 0 wins. Now, can Allgaier figure it out in the Chase? Or is he just another round 2 elimination waiting to happen? He enters as a dark horse. Like, he definitely, without a doubt, should have a couple wins. But yeah, like I mentioned, he finds every way to choke. And I think that could come back to haunt him in the Chase. We'll have to see, though. Austin Cindric, he has shocked many by winning not 1, but 2 races. Both on the road courses of Watkins Glen and Mid-Ohio. Did not win Road America, though. Because, of course, we need to have that road course rainer. But everywhere else, he's pretty meh. So for Cindric, it's either road course or bust. Chase Briscoe, he got a win earlier in the year, but he hasn't really done much other than that. He's been pretty meh. He's been like top 10 level, but he hasn't really done much other than his 1 win at Iowa. But you know, maybe he can get hot at the right time. We'll have to see. Noah Gragson, he's just been complete mediocre this year. Top 10, top 15. And there were some expectations where he could get a couple wins. But you know, I guess money can't buy a top ride when you're not talented. Michael Annett, he shocked the world at the start of the year when he won at Daytona. Then after that, he's done absolutely nothing. And top-notch equipment. I don't know, I'm not expecting much from Michael Annett. He's had no momentum in. So yeah, not expecting much out of Michael Annett in the Chase. Justin Haley, he's done pretty well in midfield equipment. He did go to the Cup Series and get a win at Daytona by rain. But maybe Justin Haley could shock some people. We'll have to see. Brandon Jones, an example of a rich kid that has gone an undeserved top cup ride, because Brandon Jones has done nothing at Joe Gibbs. But he mainly got in because the chase is a goddamn joke, and it's easy to get into the Xfinity chase. Because the only cars you're contending with at the bottom are goddamn shitmobiles. Plus the leeches winning all the goddamn time have something to do with it. So yeah, Brandon Jones, not expecting much out of him. John Hunter Nemechek. There was a lot of praise for John Hunter at the start of the year, but he hasn't really done much. Been top 10, top 15. Been very quiet under the radar. Like, I think there was high expectations for him, but he's been pretty disappointing this year. We'll have to see how he can do it in the chase. And then you got Ryan Sieg. One of the one shipmobile that makes it to the chase every year. But Ryan Sieg's done a really good job being the best of them. Finishing top 15, top 20. Really good job from him this year. He should be proud of this season from where they've come in 1 year. But yeah, not much expecting out of Sieg. So, round 1. There are your 12 Xfinity drivers. Round 1, Richmond, the Charlotte Roval, and Dover, who will move on to the round of 8. So, here is my round of 8 on the screen, so let's go through it. So, Richmond, I got that race going to Christopher Bell. I also have Dover, the last race of round 1, going to Christopher Bell. Yes, I'm picking Christopher Bell to win 2 races in the first round. See, I got Bell winning those races. The Charlotte Roval is a wild card race. That is unpredictable as all hell. But I'm going to go with the best driver that's been on the road courses this year, and that's been Cindric. See, I'm going to go Austin Cindric to get that win. And I got Tyler Reddick, Cole Custer, Justin Allgaier, Chase Briscoe, Noah Gragson, and John Hunter Nemechek making it in on points. So the 4 drivers I have out after round 1 are Michael Annett, Brandon Jones, Justin Haley, and Ryan Sieg. And that's really done nothing since Daytona. I can see him being out in round 1. Brandon Jones is a complete talentless hack that doesn't deserve to be in a top ride. And it's going to show in the first round. Ryan Sieg, this team is just happy to make the chase. So, not expecting much out of them. I was back and forth. I was back and forth on the 8th spot. I was going to go with Haley, and then there was an argument toward Nemechek. I just think, in the end, Nemechek has a better car than Haley, and I think Nemechek's the better driver, so I'm going to go Nemechek to get in over Haley. So yeah, those are my round of 8 there. Now the question is, out of those 8, who will be my Xfinity Final 4 this year? So here is my Xfinity Final 4 on the screen, so let's go through it. So Kansas, I'm going to give that race to Cole Custer. He's been the best on 1.5 miles this year, especially on the Kansas cookie cutter type tri-oval 1.5 miles. Texas, I'm going to give that one to Tyler Reddick. I think Reddick's been the only Xfinity regular to win on the 1.5 mile quad oval type speedway. So I'm going to go Reddick to get that one. He's been another top driver on 1.5 miles this year. Phoenix, a flat track. The best flat track driver and short track driver this year has been Christopher Bell. So I got Christopher Bell getting that win. And of course, for the 4th spot, I'm going to give that one to Noah Gragson because we got to have that surprise driver in the Final 4. Plus, at the start of the year, in my predictions, I said another rookie would make the Final 4. That was one of my predictions, but another rookie would make the Xfinity Final 4. I'm going to stick with that prediction. So yeah, that's my Final 4. Cole Custer, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, and Noah Gragson. That's the Final 4 this year. So out of those 4, who do I think will be the 2019 Xfinity Series champion? So for the 2019 Xfinity Series champion, I've been back and forth on this one, trying to figure out who I think will win the championship. But we've seen it time again that it should be Christopher Bell or Tyler Reddick this year, but we've seen this system before not crown the best driver throughout the season the champion. So after all debate and looking at it through the numbers, I'm going with the best driver that's on the 1.5 miles this year. Because that's what's going to come down to. Who's been the best driver on the 1.5 miles like Homestead this year. And this year, I'm going to say it's going to be Cole Custer that gets his first Xfinity Series title. So yeah, Cole Custer, he's been the best driver in the mile and a half this year. So I got Cole Custer winning the championship and the race. So yeah, Cole Custer is my prediction to win the 2019 NASCAR Xfinity Series Championship. So now it's time to look at the Cup Chase. The first Cup Chase in the history of the chase that does not involve Jimmy Johnson. So here are the 16 drivers that have qualified for this year's version of the chase. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at what we have for this. So here we go. We have, of course, let's go through the top 3 Gibbs cars. So we got Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, and Martin Truex. All 3 won 4 races each in the regular season. Like at the start of the year, Kyle Busch made a case that he's the best driver of Joe Gibbs. Then Truex made a case for that. And then Hamlin made a case for that. Like all 3 of them are making a case for it. Like, easily, the Joe Gibbs enters as the heavy title favorite, with the best 3 drivers being Gibbs drivers. I'll say this here to all 3 Gibbs drivers. If none of you win the championship this year, consider this a failure. Because obviously, when Joe Gibbs brought Martin Truex over to take over for Daniel Suarez in the 19, it was obvious that this was an all-in move to go win the championship. So yeah, you have to win the title this year, Gibbs drivers. It's either Monster Cup or bust. Kevin Harvick, the first half of the year, he's been more of the choker. Found every single conceivable way to choke. And then the second half of the year, he's really come alive. He's won 3 of the last 8 races. See how Harvick's really found his step. Of course, winning on different types of tracks like New Hampshire, Indianapolis, and Michigan. And I was there for that Michigan win. So yeah, I think part of the reason Harvick struggled the first half of the season was because of the new Ford Mustang model. Stewart-Haas couldn't get their heads around it. But it seems like now that Stewart-Haas has figured it out and Harvick is now back on pace. So yeah, maybe watch out for Harvick in the chase. If they can really get it together, this could be deadly. Joey Logano, the defending champion, he had a really solid start to the season, but he hasn't done much as of late, except find ways to choke and fall apart at the end. Like Logano, he should be able to pull another deep chase run out of his ass. Like he has almost every single year he's in the chase. Every year he's qualified for the chase from 2014 on, he's always made it to the 3rd round. And I expect him to have another deep chase run, without a doubt. Brad Keselowski, he looked like a solid championship favorite at the start of the year, but he's sort of fallen off as of late. It's like he's been flying under the radar, but we've seen before that there were times where Keselowski's fallen under the radar, but he picks it back up in the chase. So maybe I think it's time to watch out for Keselowski in the chase. I think he could pull another deep run out of his ass. Chase Elliott, he's had a pretty solid season. Easily the best driver of Hendrick Motorsports. He's got 2 wins this year at Talladega and Watkins Glen. I think he could have had a few more, but he's found every way to choke and finish 2nd place again. I think Chase Elliott, if he can put together a solid run, he should be able to go deep in the chase, without a doubt. But yeah, let's see how he does. Kurt Busch, he's had a really solid season in that 1 car for Chip Ganassi. I think a lot of people had doubted if he could make the chase this year, thought maybe this was it, considering where McMurray had that 1 car the last couple years. But Kurt Busch has pulled a really strong season out of there. And Kurt Busch even won a race in that 1 car at Kentucky, beating his younger brother Kyle. But yeah, the theme has always been that every team Kurt Busch has been with, other than Phoenix Racing, Kurt Busch has made him better. Like when he was with Roush Fenway, he made him better. Until he left and then Roush Fenway fell apart. He made Penske Racing better. He made Furniture Row Racing better until Furniture Row went out of business. He made Stewart-Haas better. Could he make Chip Ganassi better? Or will that not happen? We'll have to see. Now, Alex Bowman, he had a really solid start to the year. Finn, again, a lot of 2nd place runs coming close to winning a race, but no cigar and couldn't seal the deal. Until Bowman finally broke through and won in Chicagoland. Like, Bowman is probably the second best Hendrick car this year. I don't know, I have some questions, though. Like, ever since that Chicago win, Bowman hasn't been that impressive. He's really fallen off. Like, always struggling, so that could be something to look at in the chase. Eric Jones, he struggled the first part of the year, but the second half of the year, he's really raced hard. Part of that was because of his uncertainty if he was going to have a job or not. Then Eric Jones came through and finally got that win. Broke through and won at Darlington. Got that second career win, of course. And it looks like Eric Jones is now back on pace to be that top prospect everyone was talking about. Maybe Eric Jones can get hot at the right time and really heat it up in the chase. We'll have to see. Kyle Larson, he should have a couple wins, but he's found every way to blow it. And just hasn't looked that impressive. Like, there were questions at the start, at one point in the year, if Larson was going to leave to go to another team. I honestly thought Larson was going to leave and go to Stewart-Haas Racing. And then Larson decided to sign an extension with Chip Ganassi, and it raised a lot of eyebrows. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I would have preferred that Kyle Larson honestly leave that team and go to a real team. Because I think Larson has the talent to be successful in a Cup. He definitely has it. I just feel that Chip Ganassi is holding Kyle Larson back from his true potential. Like, honestly, Chip Ganassi, I beg of you, please release Kyle Larson so Kyle Larson can go race for a real team. Ryan Blaney, he's really been quiet as of late, been under the radar. Like, we haven't seen a lot of him this year. He's just been very quiet, running top 5, top 10, top 15, around that range. Just been very quiet under the radar. I don't know, maybe, but last year we saw him heat up and pull a deep chase run. Maybe he can get hot at the right time again. I think that's the hope with with Blaney's team, is that they get hot at the right time. But we'll have to see. William Byron has finally made the chase. What did I tell you at the start of the year? I told you all William Byron would make the chase, and he did. Byron, no, he has some speed. I think Byron could surprise some people. I think a lot of them have him down as a first-round elimination, but I think he could surprise some people in the chase. Like, I think him and Chad Knaus are finally starting to figure it out. Maybe he could get a win somewhere in the chase. We'll have to see. But yeah, we'll see what goes on. But yeah, continuing on though, Eric Almirola, he's just been really quiet. Like, honestly, if Boyer didn't find every way to shoot himself in the foot, actually we'll go for Almirola and Boyer right now. Like, those two are in a deadlock for worst car at Stewart-Haas, or second best, or honestly one of the worst cars. I honestly think Suarez was better than both of them, but Daniel Suarez fell apart at the end of the year and found every way to choke. Like, it's been deadlock for who should be the second best Stewart-Haas car. It should be Boyer, but Boyer's found every way to shoot himself in the foot and choke. And Almirola just hasn't been impressive like he was last year. He's really fallen off from last year. Like, it's honestly a step back here. But yeah, it's going to be interesting if one or both of them can get hot at the right time. And of course, the final driver here, we got Ryan Newman. Oh, Newman. Newman honestly hasn't done much this year. He's finished like top 15, top 20 most weeks. Doesn't really get stage points, but he finishes well enough because Jimmy Johnson and Daniel Suarez both fell apart at the end of the year. And Newman happened to be the last man standing in this. Plus, Newman also cost the Matt DiBenedetto to win at Bristol. And then all the Newman fanboys all coming over and defending Newman for it, for the simple reason that if DiBenedetto won, then Newman would have been out of the chase. Really? That's the fucking excuse we're going with now? That's the new excuse? So it turns out the fans want Newman to have an easy path into the chase, than actually have challenges and battle to adversity. And then you wonder why I think NASCAR has the dumbest fans in all of sports. I think what I just explained about Newman pretty much sums it up. And yes, And don't even talk about 2014. 2014 was a goddamn fluke for Newman. Because Newman hasn't done a goddamn thing since 2014. But yeah, anyway, those are the 16 Cup drivers this year. So, round 1, Las Vegas, Richmond, and the Charlotte Roval. Out of these 16, who will move on to the round of 12? So here are the 12 drivers I have moving on to the round of 12 and who I have winning in those rounds. So Las Vegas, I've debated who I had winning this one. I think it's going to be Keselowski. I think Keselowski is going to make another strong statement to start off the chase. So I got Keselowski winning at Chicagoland. Richmond, it's going to be a Gibbs driver. The Gibbs drivers have been the best drivers on short tracks this year. I'm going to say Denny Hamlin. Because Kyle Busch won their recently and Truex won their recently, and I think it's going to be Hamlin's turn to get it done. So I got Hamlin getting the Richmond. The Charlotte Roval is a wild card. It could literally, I think it's going to be another chaotic race. I'm going to say Truex gets redemption for last year and Truex will get the win at the Roval. Like, Truex is easily the best driver on the road courses, so I'll give Truex the Roval there. And the drivers I have pointing their way in are Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Kurt Busch, Eric Jones, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, and William Byron into the round of 12. Bowman, he's really fallen off as of late. I don't see Bowman moving on. Eric Almirola and Clint Bowyer, they just haven't been as good. I think Bowyer, he's found every way to shoot himself in the foot. So I'm not convinced on Bowyer. I don't see him turning around in the chase. Eric Almirola, I think this year, after that deep run he had last year, that very good year, I think this year Almirola is going to take a step back. That's why I have Almirola now in round 1. Ryan Newman, he hasn't been impressive this year, and I don't see that translating to the chase. Newman's just a round 1 elimination waiting to happen. So yeah, those are the reasons why I have those 4 out. But yeah, that's the round of 12 for you here. Those 12 names. So round 3, Dover, Talladega, and Kansas. Out of those 12, who will move on to the round of 8? So here's who I have moving on into the round of 8. So Dover, I have that race going to Kyle Busch. I have nobody listed for Talladega because I got Talladega going to Jimmy Johnson. I do think Jimmy Johnson's gonna win a race this year. I truly think that. Plus, at the start of the year, I said Jimmy Johnson would break his winless streak, and I'm staying true to it. I'm gonna take Jimmy Johnson to win Talladega. Honestly, I look at all the tracks. Hendrick's been really good at the super speedways. So, I'm going to take Johnson. I think Jimmy Johnson gets it done at Talladega. I think he's going to shock everyone and win a race. And Kansas, I've debated this one too for a mile and a half. So, I'm going to say Kansas goes to Joey Logano. I feel like Logano's going to get that one. And the 6 other drivers I have moving on are Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex, Brad Keselowski, Chase Elliott, Kurt Busch, and Eric Jones. So, the 4 I have out are William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, and a surprise elimination, Kevin Harvick. The Kevin Harvick one, I'm going to make this simple. Every single year in this chase, ever since the Jace Grid has come into existence, there has always been a bullshit elimination in the chase where a driver gets eliminated off some sort of bullshit. Every year, we've had this elimination. 2014, it was Kyle Busch. 2015, it was Jimmy Johnson. Also, 2014, you can add Jeff Gordon to that list, too. 2016, it was Martin Truex. 2017, it was Kyle Larson. Last year, it was Brad Keselowski. This year, I'm going to say it's Kevin Harvick that gets knocked down in the second round. I honestly feel like something's going to happen to Harvick at Talladega, and it's going to put Harvick in a must-win scenario for Kansas, and Harvick's not going to seal the deal. Kyle Larson, he's never made it past the second round in his entire existence. Kyle Larson is pretty much becoming the Washington Capitals of NASCAR, where he can't make it past the second round. And honestly, I want the memes to continue for that, so I got Larson not out. Ryan, I debated this last spot. I had it between Eric Jones, Ryan Blaney, and William Byron. Byron, I just don't think has enough speed to compete to get to the round of 8. So I got Byron out in the second round. Ryan Blaney, he just hasn't been impressive, and honestly, Eric Jones, I think he's getting hot at the right time. So that's why I got Jones moving on to the round of 8 there, and I got Blaney and Byron on the outside. But yeah, that is my final 4. That is my round of 8. So out of these 8, who will my final 4 be for 2019? So here it is. Here is my round of 4 for the 2019 chase for the Monster Energy Cup. And I decided, you know what? There's at least 6, 7, 8 drivers you can make a case for to win the championship. But I said, you know what? Screw it. The Final 4 this year, it's the Final 4 NASCAR wants. And it's the one the fucking nerds, the NASCAR nerds want. So here's the Final 4. Martinsville, I think Truex finally breaks through and gets the win at Martinsville finally. Texas, I feel like Keselowski's going to finally break through and get Texas too. And Phoenix, well, ever since they reconfigured Phoenix and moved the start-finish line, Kyle Busch has owned that track like the back of his hand, so I got him getting that one. And I got Joey Logano pointing this way over Denny Hamlin into the Final 4. So yes, that's the Final 4. Martin Truex, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, and Joey Logano. A Gibbs versus Penske Final 4. So yeah, out of those 4, all 4 of them former champions. So out of those 4, someone would win their second championship no matter what. So out of these 4, who will win the championship at Homestead? So after giving it much debate and thought over the Final 4, like I mentioned before, we've seen this system time and time again not crown the best driver throughout the season the champion. Except 2017. Now, honestly, Truex, I can see Truex blowing it. I can see Truex having a chance of them blowing it. I see Kyle Busch choking. And I honestly don't see Logano going back-to-back. Because the last driver to go back-to-back was Jimmy Johnson when Jimmy won 5 straight championships. So yeah, after all this and much debate, I feel like the 2019 champion is gonna be pretty much the underdog of the 4. Brad Keselowski. I honestly think Brad Keselowski is gonna get the championship this year. Like, he's been flying well under the radar, and I feel like he's gonna come up and get hot at the right time and get that title. So I got Keselowski going on and winning the 2019 Cup Championship, getting his second title. But yeah, that is my Final 4 for Xfinity and Cup. What do you think of my predictions? Do you think I'll be right most of them or wrong most of them? But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Hope everyone's a great day, and yeah, peace out. Now watch me get half of these wrong after round 1, because that's just my luck.